All right, continuing our review with part 2. This division problem also says keep, change, flip. So that's going to be the same thing. Keep your fraction on the left, change your sign from a division to multiplication, then flip your second fraction. But this has a lot more to it than the one that we looked to above, because you can either take out a greatest common factor or factor in one shape or form all of the other three portions of the fraction, whether we're talking about the numerators or the denominators. So let's take a look. Keep the first one. So 4x squared minus 1 over 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. So we're keeping that. Change the sign. So keep, change. That became multiplication. Then flip the bottom part. All right. So now our setup is good. And now instead of it being a division problem, it's really a multiplication problem because we flipped the second fraction. First part in the top, so I'll just carry this down here. We know we're going to have a dots, or if you don't, then just try to look out for those when you see them, that if you have a perfect square here and here, so 4 square root of 4 is 2, and we've got our x, square root of 1 is 1, we know it's plus, minus. All right, so that makes it much faster to factor that portion out. Then when we're looking at the next portion, or the denominator for that one, I'm going to write over here kind of in the number 13 white space, but we have 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 that we're trying to factor out. Since we did our grouping method in the last one, we can utilize that, but for this one, I'm going to utilize the x factor portion of this, and we will... All right, so we have our a, which is 2, so it's over 2 over 2, our 2 times negative 3, negative 6, that's our a times c, and then our negative 5. All right, so for this one, factors of 6 would be 1 and 6, or 3 and 2. When there is a negative 5 and a negative 6, the only way to get there with our negative 5 and our negative 6 is to have the negative 2, or excuse me, the negative 6 and the negative 1. So negative 6 and a positive 1. So with our negative 6 and our positive 1, this portion has to break down to negative 3 over 2. If you were working through and you're like, well, why didn't the 2 and 3 work? So if we did 2 times 3, that would give us 6, but we need a negative 6. So if you said, okay, well, that's got to be negative then. Well, now when you add those, that gives us a 1. And if you said, okay, well, then what if we make the negative a 3? Well, then if we add those, that gives us a negative 1, so not negative 6. So that's why it had to be our 1 and 6 for this problem. So when it's all factored out, all said and done, now we can use our bottoms up. So the 2x goes up to the front, and then we have a positive 1 with it. And then we have a, that's a 1. And then we have a 1, and the minus 3 is with it. All right, so first fraction is good to go now. So we did dots up top, and then we factored it on the bottom. Again, if you wanted to do some form of grouping, that would be fine, no worries there. The next fraction, we have a greatest common factor. So we take out a 4, meaning we divide the 4 by 4, so that's 1x, and divide 12 by 4, so that's 3. Then up top, that is going to be factored as well. So our b is negative 6, a times c is 9. So when we're looking at that, 3 and 3 should stand out to you. And if it doesn't, no worries. We're working our way through this. And then we need negative 6, so they're both negative. All right, if you've done all of that, then I have full trust that you're going to get this correct, because now you just look for anything that is exactly the same. So 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1. X minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 3. So all of that canceled out, so all that hard work to break down to have 2x minus 1 over 4. All right, let's take a look at number 17. Sorry about the pause there. Let's look at number 17. All right, 17, we have add or subtract problem where we do not have the same common denominator, so we have to find it. Anytime you have the terms right next to each other, you're going to say, okay, well, I know I need an x minus 5 and an x plus 3 for my least common denominator. So that's going to be the bottom portion in the end here. So what that means is we have to make this first one look like that, look like the x minus 5x plus 3. So we say, what does it have? What does it need? So it's sort of like when you go to the varsity, what do you have? What do you have? What do you have? All right, so we got x minus 5, and then it needs an x plus 3. And then this part here would also need an x plus 3, because if you multiply the bottom by x plus 3, you got to multiply the top by x plus 3. Second fraction, what do you have? What do you have? It's got an x plus 3, and it needs an x minus 5. So that would leave us with 6 times x plus 3 plus, because there's a positive in the middle, 8 times x minus 5. And all of that's over 1 now. All right, so we're going to distribute this, and that would leave us with 6x plus 18. Distribute this, and that leaves us with 8x minus 40. And it's still all over x minus 5, x plus 3, because that was our least common denominator. Now we combine any like terms we have, so we have a 6x and a 4x, so that's 14x. And then we have a positive 18 and a negative 40, so that leaves us with negative 22, still over x minus 5, x plus 3. I'd accept that. Because they're both even up top, you could take out a 2 and 6x minus, or 7x minus 11, still over x minus 5, x plus 3. So we can go with that as the official final answer.